Hi, welcome to Principles of Pilates. I'm Carol Weaver and this is my world. I am going to talk about breathing today. Breathing is the most important principle that you can ever learn in Pilates. So many of my students, they didn't realize that they don't breathe deeply, that they don't breathe into their ribs, that they hold their breath when they're tense. And what Pilates will help you to do is to breathe not only during the Pilates exercises, but throughout life. It'll create habits for you. Breathing is so important. So we're going to do something that I always do with my students is you're going to take your thumbs, put them at the sides of your ribs, and then overlap your fingers if you can. I have very long fingers, so sometimes it's harder for short people with small fingers to do. But we're going to breathe into our ribs and expand them side to side. And I want you to see as I'm breathing how my fingers are coming apart. So I want you to feel that sensation. Connecting your fingers with your breath. You're expanding your ribs. That's called lateral breathing. With Pilates, we breathe into our ribs and our diaphragm, really. I'm a singer too, so I learned to breathe into my diaphragm rather than breathing into your chest or into your belly. You're breathing into your ribs. So we inhale, deep breath, and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Now, that's one dimension of our breath. I want you to think about the second dimension of our breath, and that's breathing into your ribs front and back. So we're going to breathe, expanding our ribs out in front of us and our ribs out behind us. Side to side and front to back. Deep breath. Feel those ribs expand. And then the third dimension, 3D breath, is we're going to elongate our spine as we're breathing. And we're not going to lift our shoulders up. We're going to keep our shoulders wide, exposing those collarbones, bringing that chest out, and then putting those shoulder blades down and in their pockets. So we're going to breathe 3D, side to side, front to back, but we're also going to elongate our spine. Do you see that little subtle lift I'm making? You're creating a space between the bottom of your ribs and the top of your hips. And we don't want to lift our shoulders up while we're doing it. So we're going to breathe. Deep breaths. Relax into Pilates. There we go. The second and third principles of Pilates are concentration and control. Concentration is about that mind-body connection, really thinking through each movement when you do each repetition. It's also very important to remember that it's better to do one repetition correctly, completely, and with control than to do many repetitions and not really connecting and thinking about what you're doing. And along with that, that with control part is about thinking about where your body is in space, really concentrating and then controlling the movement while you're doing it. Not looking at your neighbor thinking, oh, well, they did it that way, so I got to do it this way. You got to listen to your body and do it within your capabilities. The fourth principle of Pilates is centering and stabilization. You may have heard that Pilates refers to the core as the powerhouse. That's how Joseph Pilates referred to it, but usually we just say core. But a lot of us think the core is just right here. But the core goes all the way around to your back. So in Pilates, we look at the core as from the ribs down to the pubic bone. That includes your glutes. It includes your oblique muscles, your back muscles, and those commonly called core muscles of the abdomen. So Pilates will help stabilize your core. It'll help strengthen your core and also make you more flexible in that area of your life. It's all about every movement starting from the core. We call it proximal to distal. Proximal is the center part of your body. Distal are your arms and legs. A lot of sports that we do strengthen the distal parts of our bodies, just any kinds. I played basketball. It's all about distal, but my core was never really strong. So that's the beauty of Pilates. It's really going to help you in that area of your life. The next principle of Pilates is precision, and that's combining concentration, control, and core stability. So concentrating, connecting your mind to your body, control, making sure you're in alignment, doing things within your capabilities, and then core, making sure you're engaging your core as you do the exercises, abs in and up. It all works into precision. You're doing each movement with finesse. And remember, again, it's not how many you do, it's how many you do correctly. So just remember, precision is that combination of concentration, control, and core stability. The last principle of Pilates is flow or rhythm. It's having all your muscles move together with core stability, concentrating, doing it all with control and rhythmic breathing. It all flows together. And it's also flow relates to flowing from one exercise to another. Hi, this is a video I'm making for just really learning. You learned the principles of Pilates. Now I'd like you to learn the practices of Pilates. There are certain subtle things that we do that make your workout so much better. Classical Pilates is very particular about all of that. I did other kinds of Pilates classes for years, and one time there was one substitute with classical Pilates, and I couldn't believe how much better of a workout it was. So let's go on our backs. And sometimes I review these things during the class, but I go through them very quickly. So this is a video for you to really learn these principles. So, and there, you'll get a good workout. Actually, I broke my leg in 2019, and all I did was do pulling in the clock and tucking and tilting my spine and engaging my core. I couldn't do anything with my legs because I broke my leg. But it's amazing how I came out of my 6 weeks in bed, mostly in bed, with a pretty strong core. So let's first think about the breathing on the mat, okay? So think about your 3D breath. You want to go side to side with your ribs. You're breathing into your ribs. You're going up and down. So your ribs are going up to the ceiling and pressing into mat on the bottom. And then you're thinking about elongating your spine. I know I covered this in Pilates principles a little bit, but I was standing up. So, or sitting and doing it with you. So I want you to just put your hands around. You can even lace your hands together so you can really see your fingers together as they come apart. So one thing with Pilates we do is we open wide our collarbones. See, we don't have our shoulders up like this. They're down and they're away from the earlobes. We never wear our shoulders as earrings. That's what we say in Pilates. So I want you to breathe in side to side, front to back, and elongate your spine. And feel those fingers just inhale. Feel the fingers come apart. Big breath. you are working those intercostal muscles. Big full breaths we don't usually take. I think with Pilates, you'll also keep breathing. I'll keep talking. You'll also notice how much you hold your breath throughout the day. So this is a great thing about Pilates. It makes you more mindful about your breathing. So that's that principle of just filling those ribs up and expelling air. Working those muscles that make the ribs go in and out. That in and of itself is going to help your upper back. Okay, so now we're going to look at pelvic stability, and I'm going to have a whole video on pelvic stability exercises and stretches for you to do, just the muscles that support the spine and go into the pelvis and connect both the upper and lower parts of our body. But I want you to tuck and tilt with your breathing, inhaling and exhaling, massaging, warming up your pelvic girdle there. Sometimes we go into a shoulder bridge to do that, but I'm just going to stay on the mat, inhaling and exhaling. And I review this throughout the whole season of all these Pilates videos. But I want you to think about having a bowl of soup on your stomach, and it's brimming to the top. And you don't want to have a flat spine into the mat. And you don't want to have a spine so curved that the bowl of soup is going to run between your legs. You want to find a nice neutral spine between the tuck and the tilt. And it's also described from the pubic bone over to the hip bones. It's a T, and you want that T. You don't want the pubic bone down. You don't want to have it up. You want to have it level with your hip bones. And that makes that nice bowl of soup just sit there, brimming. So that's what you want to think about. That's another practice that we always think about, having that bowl of soup on our abdomen. And don't want to spill it. So we're inhaling and exhaling. Oops, see, I'm lifting my shoulders up, keeping those shoulder blades open, collarbones open, shoulder blades on the mat. And we're going to talk about the core. The core is not just your abdominals. In Pilates, it used to be called the powerhouse. Now we call it the core. But it goes all the way around your whole trunk. So we're going to inhale, and you're going to pull in your belly button. That's 12 o'clock. Pull it in and then up a little bit. And keeping that neutral spine. Breathing again. Then both hip bones are 6 and 9 o'clock. And then your pubic bone is, no, it's 3 and 9 o'clock. And your pubic bone is 6. So you're going to inhale 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Just work around the clock. 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Pull those muscles in. 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I guarantee you, if you just work on your clock while laying in bed, you're going to have a stronger core. So inhale and pull in that clock. 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And keep it somewhat, maybe 60% contracted when you take another breath. Pulling in that clock, and then pull in those oblique muscles, those side muscles. That's part of your core too. Pulling in the clock, and the obliques we're going to add on. There's more. The clock, the obliques, the back muscles, the glutes, and then pull up that pelvic floor. It's like pulling up. They're Kegel exercises is what they're called. You go up and down, but it's like an elevator in your pelvic floor, and you're pulling it up toward your belly button. That is your core. And back in the day, women used to wear corsets. Well, this is all the muscles. They're part of your inner corset. So inhale, pull in, clock, obliques, back muscles, glute muscles, and pull up that pelvic floor. That is your powerhouse. Joseph Pilates called it that, but we call it the core now. So your abs are the front, but there's also your back. which includes the whole trunk, that area. That's your proximal part of your body. And that's what I always tell people when I was a basketball player. I didn't develop the proximal. I just got very strong in my distal, and I had back problems the whole time I was playing. So that's a very important core. And also the position of your neck. The biggest complaint I hear is people get neck problems from doing Pilates. So let's do a little exercise. We do it sometimes at the beginning for the warm-up. You're going to inhale, shoulders back and down, and exhale, chin into chest. Inhale, chin up to the ceiling. Inhaling and exhaling, just warming up that neck, stretching it. And then you want to find a nice neutral spot. Your chin's not going to be up when you come up to do the 100, but it's not going to be down here when you do the 100. It's not like a crunch. It's going to be neutral. So you want to think about having a big apple underneath your chin. Sometimes I have people put tennis balls there, but you want to have a nice neutral spine, just like your neutral spine. That's part of your spine too, a nice neutral neck. So you have it neutral here where it's not flat, it's not curved, it's just a nice little curvature in your neck. So think about a big apple under your chin. And you inhale, and then pull in that clock, pull in that core, and you're going to lift your head and chest, but you're going to keep that apple under your chin and stretch. I sometimes do preps, one vertebra at a time, coming up, one vertebra at a time, holding and down. So that's what we're talking about when we talk. And what is very important is for you to listen to your body. Listening to your body means make a mind-body connection where you go, oh my gosh, when I'm doing the roll-up, I'm pulling on my right side more than my left. That's telling you that there's a muscle imbalance between your right and your left. And just be conscious of that when you're favoring one side over the other. Be conscious of being balanced, and having another thing that we always say is put champagne glasses on each hip bone. And when we're doing certain exercises, we don't want to wobble our hips. That's another principle. So you want that pelvic stability, and the way to keep your hips from wobbling are to pull in that core, that whole or proximal part of your body. So we're going to do just one more little exercise to make you think about that. You want to inhale, you have that neutral spine, and pull in your core all the way around your trunk. And then put your hands on your hips, and I want you to go up to tabletop. And then this is the challenge. Keep that core engaged and don't let your hips wobble. Pull up the other one to tabletop. Your hips should be level. You should maintain that nice neutral spine. And let's bring our knees into our chest and rock and roll. Hi. The next principle you're going to learn is proper posture. It's not just Pilates posture, it's just posture just in general. I'm going to do a side view, and you want to look. Some people are like this, some people are like this, some people are like this. We have bad posture because we're sitting here with our telephones or our cell phones like here, or we're sitting at computers like this. So what Pilates does is really extend your spine. It helps you to be more aware of where your body is in space when you're sitting in a chair. And it also strengthens the muscles, especially those back muscles that often get really weak from sitting in a chair, and the glute muscles that get weak from sitting in a chair, and the hip flexors that get really tight from sitting in a chair, and the pecs that get really tight from sitting at a computer. So I'm going to just turn sideways. We've done this on the mat, but I want you to think about, and I review this sometimes at the beginning of each routine, but I just wanted to have it as part of this Pilates, not a practice video here. So think of a tray of marbles that's extending out from your hips. And if you have this kind of spine, like this, your tray of marbles is going to go into your stomach. If you have this kind of spine, your tray of marbles is going to go down, you know. So you want to find a nice neutral spine between your tuck and your tilt. So just tuck and tilt your spine, and then find that nice neutral spine where the tray of marbles is just sitting on top, even. And then we want to go from head to toe. Alignment. It's a kinetic chain all the way down your body. So you want to, proper alignment is so great to prevent pain in your life. So first of all, we want to chin tuck. We want to tuck our chin back. And I'll teach you through the videos a chin tuck exercise. I'll just show it to you right here. That your longus capitis muscle is very weak, and that chin tuck exercise makes it stronger, and it puts your head on top of your spine in a better way. So you want to chin tuck, and then you want to bring your shoulders. We lift back and lock. And we like to say that we have our shoulder blades go into little pockets in the middle of our back. So our shoulders go back and back, collarbones wide, and the shoulder blades go down and in their pockets, and the chin is tucked. So your ear is in line with your shoulder. You have that nice tuck and tilt of your spine, and you're going to breathe into your ribs and pull in that belly button. Pull in at 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, that whole clock. And while you're standing, you're pulling it in. And pulling in your glutes, having a little bit of glute awareness there. And that makes you stand up more as you do all of those things. And so now I want to show you, we're going to talk about bending one vertebra at a time. We do this, we stand up and we bend one vertebra at a time, going down into the front support or the plank exercise. So you have your shoulders back and down and in their pockets, those shoulder blades. You have your chin tucked. And I want you to pretend there's an imaginary wall behind you. And let's just put your hands on your hips. You're not going to move your hips back until you peel that upper body off the imaginary wall. So we're going to wait. And first of all, our crown of our head goes forward, our chin goes to our chest. That's your cervical spine. And then one vertebra at a time, thoracic spine, that upper spine. And we're going to our mid-back now, one vertebra at a time. And now we put our hips back. And one, we go down, 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 down. And then come back up, pulling our belly button in. We want to have our belly button engaged the whole time. So let's do that again. Proper alignment, shoulders back and down, chin tucked, clock engaged, core powerhouse engaged. Hands on your hips just to make sure they don't go back yet. Chin to chest, one vertebra at a time. Don't make your hips go back yet until you get about mid-back. And then we go down, hips go back, and we go down. And when you do that, you hit the floor much more easily, actually. So that is proper alignment when you're standing. One more thing, glutes. This is a fun fact to know and tell. We often have weak glutes because we sit in chairs all day. And so our gluteals get worked in Pilates. But also we need to know proper mechanics for walking. Your glutes are the big major movers for making your leg go back, right? So a lot of us don't use our glutes when we walk. So I do this exercise where I play Nancy Sinatra's song, "These boots are made for walking," but I say these glutes are made for walking. So these glutes are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do, okay? So we want to accentuate by contracting your left glute. And as you contract, can you see how your hip flexor opens up? That's your antagonistic muscle to your hip flexor. Your hip flexors are tight, your glutes are usually weak. So you want to engage it and then walk. Engage the right, then walk. Engage the left. Now I find when I'm hiking especially, your lower back starts hurting. If you put your glutes into it and really start glute walking with that proper alignment, it's amazing how much more power. I had this challenge where I did 50 squats a day, really developed my glutes. I couldn't believe how much faster I walked and how much better my lower back felt. So that is the standing portion of Pilates practice. Thank you.